All right, so we're getting closer with the profile routes file. The only thing we have left to do is deal with the education and experience. We want to be able to add an education object to the array or in an experience object. We also want to be able to delete them. Okay, so those are the routes that we have left. So we're going to do that at the bottom. Let's copy one of these headers and let's go down to the bottom and let's paste in a header here. So this route is going to be a post request. This is going to be to add an experience. So it's going to be profile, API profile slash experience post request. And we'll change this to add experience to profile. And this is going to be a private route because we need the actual user that is submitting the form. So let's do router dot post and let's pass in here slash experience. Okay, and then second parameter is going to be passport dot authenticate. We're using JWT. Let's add our options, which is just going to have session false, and then we'll go ahead and add our arrow function. Don't forget the request and response. And then what we want to do in here is we're going to do some validation, but we'll do that after. Okay, we're going to have an experience and education JS in our validation because there's a bunch of fields that we need to validate. But let's first of all just say profile.find1. So what do we want to find by? We want to find by the logged in user, so we can simply say user and then request.userid, which comes from the token. And let's do a .then, and in here it'll give us the profile. And I'm just going to create an object called new exp for new experience. And we're going to fill this in, so we'll say title, which will come from request.body.title. Okay, it's all going to come from a form. The company, request.body.company. The location, body.location. And we also want the from, which will be a date. So request.body.from. To request.body.to, and then we also want current, which obviously means if they're still there or not, so request.body.current. And finally we want description. All right, so this is going to be the experience object. Now, remember, we're not going to have an experience collection, so it's not like we say experience.save and pass this in. What we need to do is just add it to the array of our profile. Okay, so we'll say add to experience array, and this is really easy. We're just going to say profile dot experience, and we want to not push. We could do push, but that'll put it at the end. I want it to be added to the beginning, so I'm going to do unshift instead. And then we can pass in the new experience, and then we save the profile. Okay, so we take the existing profile and we save it, and that'll give us a promise. So we do .then, that'll give us the profile. And then what we want to do is just res.json the profile. Okay, so it'll add the experience and it'll return the profile with the new experience. And in our front end application, it'll update our state and we'll be able to see that new experience. So let's go ahead and add the validation now. So we're going to go in our validation folder and add experience.js. I mean, you could do all the validations within here, but it would look really messy. So that's why I'm putting it all, they're all in separate files. Let's copy from one of these. So we'll take the login. That's the shortest one, I think. So we'll grab that and we'll go into experience.js, paste it in. We want the validator and is empty. We want to initialize errors. We just want to change the name of this to validate experience input. And then for the required fields, it's going to be title, company, and from. So let's grab this. All of the emails, we'll change this to title. All of those, we'll grab these passwords and change to company. And then let's copy this down and we'll grab these and change these to from. Whoops, didn't want to do that. Just those. Okay, so that'll take whether it's undefined or null and turn it into an empty string. That way we can use the validator is empty. So let's get rid of these. Actually, we'll keep one of the is empties. And let's pass in here data.title, and we'll have errors.title, and then the error will be title field is required, or we'll say job title. Okay, and then we'll copy that, and then we'll have our company. So that'll be, oops, company field is required. And then this one here, let's see, we have data.title, so we're going to grab title here and change this to from. Okay, and then we'll go and we'll say from date field is required. And that's it. Then we just want to return our errors and if it's valid or not. So let's save this and let's go to back to our routes, our profile routes. We need to bring that file in. Okay, so just like we did with the validate profile input, we want the validate experience input. Change this to experience, and let's go back down to the route that we just created, and actually we'll copy from one of these up here, which is, let's see, we need one of the post routes. Where's the post route? Right here. So we just want to initialize errors and is valid, and then just check for those. Check to see if it's valid. So I'll copy that. We'll go back down to our experience post route, paste that in at the top, and just change this to validate experience input, and check to see if it's valid. If there's any errors, then we'll return a 400 with those errors. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. So let's save this. And we'll go ahead and we'll try to add an experience. So let's go to our profile, our Postman, and let's go, let's see. This is to create a profile. I kind of want to leave that tab open, but let's grab the authorization header or the token, and then we'll go to a new tab and we'll make a post request to 5000/API/profile/experience, and let's add in our authorization for, I think this is for the Brad user, and for the body, form encoded, and then we need our fields. So remember, we have title. Actually, let's try sending it without anything. And there we go. It gives us our errors, okay? And these will show up in the front end when we build our React application, right in the Bootstrap form, which is going to be nice. So let's say title. I'm going to say senior developer, and company We'll say Tech Guy Web Solutions. And what else? From, let's see, for the date, I'm gonna say 2010. I don't know, 02. I don't know the exact dates here. 04. Let's try that, and then we'll say 20. Let's do 2015 dash 04 05. All right, and let's see what else was there. There was description. So description, I'll just say worked with clients to build websites and applications using current web technologies. Title company, I think that's it. So let's try that. We'll send, and it gives us our profile back, and check that out. Look in the experience array, we have an object. Current is false because we didn't set it to current. We have we have an ID, so each experience has its own ID. Keep that in mind. The title, company, the from date, the to, and the description. So that works. Now what I'm going to do is the same thing for education. Okay, so it's going to be very similar. So I'm going to copy the route we just created, the post route. Paste that in, and let's change it to profile education. We'll say add education to profile. We'll change the route. And we're going to have a file called validate education, education input. Same thing. This is always going to be the same. We're just checking to make sure it's valid. Profile find one by its user. That's going to be the same. We're just going to change this to new edu, and we need our education fields, which is going to be school, and we want degree, and we want field of study, we want from, to, current, and description. So those can stay the same. And then make sure down here we change experience to education. We're going to add the new edu object. And then we're going to save and return the profile just like we did. So we'll save this. Now let's go to the top and bring in that validation file that we haven't yet created. So we're going to say validate education input, and now let's create that file. Education.js. I'm going to copy the experience one that we did, and let's see, what are we going to change? We want school, we want degree, we want from, we also want field of study, like that, and then we're just going to add those down here as well. So school, whoops, what did I do? School field is required. We also want degree. So degree field. We want from, that's fine, we can leave that. We also want field of study. And that should do it. Let's save, and let's try to add education. So we'll go back to here, and let's just change the route to profile/education. And then we're just going to change some of this stuff up. So school, I'm going to say Northern, whoops. I don't like how this works here. It just kicks me out, like, if I'm not hovered over it. Let's say Northern Essex. And what else do we need here? Degree. I'm going to say associates. Whoops. So we also want field of study. So I'm going to add that. Let's change the dates here first. So we'll say 2008 to 2010. And we'll change this to like 1. We'll say 1-1. Description. I don't know. Basic computer science degree program. And then field of study. We'll say computer science. All right, so that should do it. Let's go ahead and send. Okay, so it gives us our profile back, and there it is. Education has its own ID, Northern Essex, Associates, Computer Science, Field of Study, Description, and from and to dates. Awesome. So we can now add education and experience to our profiles. All right, so that's it. In the next video, we're going to wrap up the profile routes by just being able to delete education and experience. Okay, so I will see you in the next vid.